ready?
Yes, 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 yes.
All right, let's do this. I still wish your volume could be louder. But they said I can hear you loud and clear, so maybe because I'm just hearing myself, right?
Okay.
So let's talk
Can you hear
about
me?
that topic. I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay, so we're talking love, marriage, and the law. Okay, a number of people here are lawyers, by the way, so
Oh, great, 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 great.
they can support, or how do they call that thing for debate? Support
Support
or
the
what
motion.
the motion. All right, so let's get talking. Right, so first things first. You're welcome. So guys, she's a family lawyer, um, and she specializes in everything family law. I mean, some people don't know that matters of divorce, child custody, and all those things. Some people don't know that all those are court matters or legal matters. All right. Let me read a quick bio, a very short bio of hers. All right. She's a family lawyer with over a decade of legal practice, and she guides families through complex legal environments. All right, with her comprehensive knowledge of the Nigerian family law, the statutes, the precedents, and her expertise also is in international family law. She's the founder of Niger Family Law, and she educates people about their legal rights in family matters. Ladies and gentlemen, with love popping on your screens, let's make welcome Adesua. This is all you're sending me again.
Baja.
Baja, yes. Okay, because I've seen another one here. I got confused. So please let's make her welcome. And the floor is yours. So I'll ask a few questions and then you just shoot. All right. See, they're making you welcome. Thank you guys for the love.
Thank you. I'm sorry I came in late. Instagram was Instagramming.
It's Instagram thing, so it's not you, my dear. We all know. All right. So first things first, I mean, from the law place, right? How do you guys define marriage? Is it anything you want to call it? Is it what you want to identify as, or is there a definition in the law? Is there a way it is understood? You know.
So simply put, marriage is a union between a man and a woman, disregarding all others. So that's in simple terms.
Disregarding all others. That's a strong something that some people are not used to yet. Okay, so between a male and a female, right? A man and a woman.
Male and female. Man and woman.
Okay, does anybody have question there? I'm not sure. so let me not push it too much. Let me leave that. All right. So there are a few other things I want to ask about. Are there requirements? Are there minimum requirements a person should have before talking marriage? Okay, or are there what are the, from the legal standpoint, like when is it, what makes it valid or not valid?
Okay, so the legal requirements for marriage are the person has to be of age. So
okay,
it's not expected that anyone below the age of 18. 18 is considered being an adult. So it's not expected of anyone below the age of 18 to go into a marriage. So to be seen as an infant or a minor getting into a contract that they haven't been. So age is of importance. Marriage is to be carried out in a licensed place of worship.
Okay.
Marriages should be carried out in public spaces, of course. So a licensed place of worship is usually a public place, such as a church. There should be witnesses to confirm and then to concur that yes, a marriage was conducted between a man and a woman.
Okay. The person should also not. Can you marry at gunpoint?
Oh no. So yeah, the person should not misrepresent who. Yes, and it should not be done under duress. So of course, it shouldn't be done under duress, and you should not represent who you are as an individual, as a person. You can't say I am so person and not be that person. So it's okay.
So people who feel like they were deceived into marriage, like they were told one thing, got married, and found out it's entirely different, the opposite, and stuff like that. Can they run away? Or is it too late?
They can annul the marriage on grounds of it being void.
Okay.
They can.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, cogent facts and evidence have to be put before the courts before that can go through to being annulled, or to say, oh, I was deceived into this marriage, or I did not know that this was who this person says he was or says she was prior to getting married to him or her. And that happens a lot for sham marriages. So, for instance, when people get married for papers, and maybe they just thought that it was really love, really and truly love, but really and truly was paper. Documentation, international documentation.
Yeah, some people have been on this boat before, where someone proposed marriage because he needed or she needed to apply for, a visa or something. And then, got married, but then didn't get the visa. And then the partner just took all the frustration that the one who was denied visa, was just meting out. A lot of frustration, you see. So I just remember that because of this point you made about people getting married just for papers, just to process papers and stuff. Okay. So there was something else you mentioned though about licensed place of worship. Does it mean that there's a kind of place where somebody will get married and it's not recognized?
Yes. So there are some churches that are not licensed by the Federal Ministry of Interior. So you have some churches that obviously have their licenses, and you have some other churches that probably don't pay attention to it, and it is important that they do. So in the instances where they don't pay attention to their licenses, it is best for that couple to also do a registry marriage, because whatever they do in a church that is not licensed, or in a place of worship that is not licensed, is just a ceremony. But if the place of worship is licensed, the certificate they get there is usually from the Federal Ministry of Interior. Usually even carries the heading Federal Ministry of Interior. So e.g. Orthodox churches such as Catholic churches, Anglican churches, those the churches that have been here for quite a while, most of them are licensed. But so for some other churches, they really don't pay attention to being licensed, or might not even know how to go about it. So for those churches, they even tell you to go to the registry first before coming to them. So some churches do that. And some other churches tell you that there's really no need to go to the registry. Whatever certificate they're going to offer you at the church is equivalent to whatever certificates that will be given to you at the Federal Ministry of Interior. Again, if you sign the documents in church, the certificate is usually in 3 copies. One for the wife, one for the church's record, and one for the registry's record. So that in the event that is a public document, so that in the event that one is missing, you can always go back to get a certified true copy of that document. Okay, so why didn't you say one for the couple? You said one for the wife. And so usually the wife holds that copy. Why? I want to know why. Why? Well, it's common practice. It's believed that the woman is at the receiving end, so she should guide herself and hold her receipts that they bought market. And this is the evidence of the market that they bought. So okay, yeah, because I see that all the time. When I got married, the certificate was given to my wife, and I'm wondering, are you trying to say I'm careless, that I will lose it, or what? That I will tear it? I'm going to put out for pockets. Someone is asking, no copy for the husband. Some husbands have copies. So, again, it all depends. So some people even go ahead and scan it, so that just in case it gets missing somewhere. They say husband will misplace it before he gets home. Yes, so that's possible. So, but okay, so basically, you can just scan it and have the e-copies and soft copies and backed up in the cloud or something. Yes, absolutely. Okay. I have one more question. What about those who say I want to do garden wedding in the cool of the evening? So, garden wedding. Remember that some churches give that room for you to hold your wedding ceremony still with the church, but outside the church. It's a public space. So for instance, if you get married in a garden, it's a public place, and the church will still bring the certificate. So if it is done by a licensed church, again, it might not even be done by a licensed church. So you have arrangements where people have arrangements with the Federal Ministry of Interior, that's the Ikoyi registry, and then they pay for private services, such as, we're having at a restaurant, would like your officers to be there with the certificate. So people make those arrangements. Again, it's a public space. Again,
Okay.
witnesses. So the requirement of a valid marriage is present.
Okay. Okay. So I get it now. Then what about the ones we call church wedding?
So church
Okay, in fact,
weddings,
that would take me to the next question, right? Because what are the different types or kinds of marriage or weddings that are
okay.
allowed or recognized?
Okay, so
Yeah.
we have the traditional marriage, which is some call it engagement, some call it wine carrying. That's the traditional. Then we have the
Okay.
registry. Registry is going to the courts. Some go to the local governments, and then some do it at church because their church is licensed. Now, so what people
Okay.
call white wedding is what some have as their licensed marriage. Again, because the church is licensed. And there'll be
Okay.
no need to go to the courts. Whatever the church offers as a certificate is a valid marriage certificate. Now, so we have the
Okay.
tradition, and we have the traditional, we have the courts, which is registry, and then we have the whites. Ideally, if you get married in a licensed church, that's amazing, you know. But if you get married if you get married in the court registry, and
Yeah.
you get married in the court registry and you're given a certificate, is as good as you're being married already. So getting married in a church will
Okay.
not just be ceremony, so it's just ceremonial. So the white wedding, so to say, is literally ceremonial. If your church is not licensed and you had to do the registry marriage, it's ceremonial.
Okay. Okay. So the traditional one is recognized.
Yes,
Um,
by
and then
laws.
the registry one is recognized.
Yes.
And then the church one is ceremony, or the white one,
Ceremony where the church is not licensed.
where the church is not licensed to.
Yeah.
So what's key there is that the church is able to give you that certificate, right?
Yes.
And then where they're not able to, then you should go get that at the registry.
Yes, you get that at the registry. So whatever you do after that is just ceremony.
Okay, just a quick one. Yeah, it kind of confuses. Is it at the registry or is it at the local government office, or are they the same thing, or is it at a court of law? You know?
So that,
Yeah.
fantastic question, because once upon a time, so there was an issue with the local government saying that they would prefer for people to come and get their marriage certificates with them. Again, there was a clash
Yeah.
with the Federal Ministry of Interior saying they are the right people to get the certificates with. Now, more people prefer to get their marriage certificates with the Federal Ministry of Interior because they believe it's federal government and is valid for
Federal.
international purposes.
Yeah.
So does it mean that those people that got married under the local governments have, well, we cannot say because there is a certificate. So regardless, there's a certificate. That certificate is a public document. Up until recently, when Ikoyi registry became a thing, now it seems like Ikoyi registry certificates carry more weight than the local government. So people just ideally go to the Federal Ministry of Interior, which is like Ikoyi registry, the one you have in Abuja, you have in Port Harcourt, you have them in major cities in Nigeria.
Okay. 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 There's a question here. Let me read it from Moyoshere. In your experience, how often is the misrepresentation? You know, that was one of the points you mentioned, and I was coming to it. How often is the misrepresentation of sexual orientation relied on as a ground to annul or divorce? Do you get it?
Please say that again.
In your experience, how often is the misrepresentation of sexual orientation relied upon as a ground for annulment or divorce?
How often is misrepresentation of
Sexual
sexual orientation?
Yeah.
Not as often as other grounds for divorce.
Okay.
So
She's explaining further. She's explaining further. She says
gay misrepresents as
otherwise.
So yes, that happens. And when that happens, of course, Nigerian laws do not give room to gay rights and all of that. Like, it's a criminal offense in Nigeria. So where that happens, it is a ground, or it can be used as a ground. It can be used as a ground for divorce on grounds of adultery. Now, you might want to trigger the fact that the person is involved in a criminal act, because if you bring up the fact that this person is gay as one of the reasons why, okay, so you say adultery, fine. Then you now say, oh, homosexual reasons. It is so one of the grounds for divorce is to state that it is not expected that one would tolerate such behaviors. Now, this is an example of a behavior that one is not really expected to tolerate. And when
Okay.
issues of adultery come up, one can also want to rely on the fact that it's also a criminal offense. But do people go the long route? I don't know. I have not experienced that. So do people actually say, oh, you know, this person is gay? What you find more is people hide it and just say they're no longer compatible. People don't really go out there and then tell
You don't
the
really
law.
say what the real problem is.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't really say what the real problem is of, oh, he's gay, or he's really not interested in the opposite sex, or she's not interested in the opposite sex. What you have more often, again, because they're trying to sort of protect the person, because the moment you say the person is gay, it's a criminal offense of 7 or 14 years imprisonment. So do you want to go that route? So people rather just say, oh, you know what, we're not compatible, and then probably bring up other issues why the marriage cannot work.
Yeah, but even at that, you need to provide evidence, Abby.
Oh yes. So even if it was adultery with the opposite sex and not a gay misrepresentation or a gay affair, you still have to bring evidence. You can't just say, oh, adultery. No. Do you have chats? Do you have emails? Do you have receipts? So all of those things? The courts will not just make decisions based on assumptions. I mean, there has to be facts.
Okay, there's a question that are there exceptions to these options? I take it that those are the options of marriage. Are there exceptions? Are there other ones that can be admitted or acknowledged, recognized besides the court? The registry, traditional. Yeah? Are there other options?
Not that I'm aware of. So I know that in Nigeria, Nigeria does not have any provision for civil partnerships. So you've been dating someone for so long is not, cohabiting or dating someone for so long, for 10 years, 20 years, there's no legal provision for that. And the law doesn't take care of protect individuals in such arrangements, unlike the UK where you have people being protected or such arrangements being honored by the laws of the United Kingdom. In Nigeria, they're not. So the options that are valid are, again, traditional, being guarded and regulated by the customary courts. Then you have the registry, that is marriage under the Act, that is being regulated by the Matrimonial Causes Act. And then again, I say the white or the church is ceremony, because most times it still hinges or is still relating to the marriage under the Act. That's the one that was done in courts. So not that I'm aware of. But I mean, things are changing every day, but our laws are not being reviewed to reflect current realities.
Okay, thank you so much. So if there are any, I'm saying this to the rest of us in the house. I mean, if you have other thoughts, other ideas, you can drop it and let's share and let's learn, or let's learn from each other. I wanted to say let's argue it out, but let's learn from each other, because lawyers like argument, right? You're trained for that. All right. Someone says, so I can just do traditional marriage and I'm legally married.
Okay, so if you do traditional marriage, the laws and customs of wherever you're from recognize that you're married.
Yeah.
There is another question that's sort of closely related to traditional marriage here. Radical Chijoke says, how does the court recognize traditional wedding, or do you still have to go to court?
Yeah.
So again, to traditional marriages, the law relates to traditional marriages when you have to do with the customary courts. So in the event that Mr. A and Mr. Mrs. A get married under the native law and customs, so for instance, the engagement ceremony that the Yorubas do, if that marriage happens that way, there are instances where people go and get a certificate from a customary court as evidence that they got married traditionally. Again, because even if they have to dissolve that marriage, aside returning of bride price, which some cultures do, not all cultures return bride price as a sign of dissolution of that marriage.
Yeah.
Some people that need paperwork to back up the fact that they are done with that marriage still go to the customary court to get some sort of documentation or to dissolve that marriage that was done under native law and custom.
Oh, wow. But I guess that's only if at the beginning you also went to the customary court to get that document that shows that you're married, right?
Not necessarily. If you can provide...
So even if you didn't get that at all, you can just go there and say, won't they need proof that you were traditionally married?
You can provide witnesses to say that, of course, yes, so that marriage actually held. There was something like that. The marriage happened. And so on so reasons, you have, we're no longer interested. So if you see some reports that you see on Punch, you see the customary court in Ikorodu held that. It shows you that those
Okay.
people got married traditionally. So
Okay.
when you now have the high courts dealing with the matter, then you know that they got married under the act because it was
Okay.
a marriage.
Okay. So even if it's just traditional and you get that documentation from the customary court,
Yeah.
that is terrible in the case of applications for visas and stuff like that, official document.
Again, it is, but people believe that the federal marriage registry will carry more weight.
Okay.
It is.
But I mean, no one should be turned down because they provided the one from customary court.
Ideally, but again, you know, in common practice, it's common practice that people go to the federal marriage registry.
Okay. Okay. Guys, if you have questions, bring it on. Oh. May I have a book full of them? Just taking it a step at a time. Okay, so thank you so much. So there's something I think I jumped. Hold on, let me see. There was a question on what about cases of impotency? I guess this was when we're talking about the grounds for annulment. Okay. So if a party is impotent, is that valid enough for annulment or dissolution?
So we'll put it in the term of unable to consummate the marriage. So if the party is
Why do
impotent,
people like grammar like this?
well, I mean, it sounds nice. Impotent is very crude. Impotent sounds like
It will be like this. Yeah.
it's very serious.
It will be like saying insult somebody.
So
Okay.
consummation, lack of consummating of that marriage is a ground for divorce. But again, like every other ground, you have to prove it. Like the court is not just going to make assumptions. So you say this person is impotent. On what grounds? How do you know that this person is impotent? Oh, they have medical reports. I mean, so medical reports can help. Compelling the person, so the court can give an order compelling that person to carry out medical examination, just so that they know that really and truly this person has this situation going on. So yes, be a ground for divorce. Failure to consummate the marriage.
Okay. So if people are in a marriage but after you consummate, everything you're doing after then is just a consummation. Like after you have consummated after the wedding, right? And then maybe the couple are not having that what's the nice word now? Before I go talk crude street language. Couple, what they do, not they do it they're supposed to do, right? So how long can that be before one party decides to file? Is it just like 1 month? Say, you don't touch me, no way, I will report you. Oh yeah, you did not touch me. Or I mean, is there like a given number of years? They say, okay, for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, a couple have not been intimate. Does that become a ground?
So the Act doesn't give a timeline for consummation of marriage. So the Act doesn't say, oh, after 6 months, if consummation hasn't happened, we just say lack of consummation. But again, the court will look at what would a reasonable man, what would ideally be a reasonable man's timeline. So in considering all of it, the court will have to make up its mind and say, even a reasonable man is expected that at least within so amount of time, the marriage should have been consummated. So, but the Act doesn't give a timeline as to, several times, as much as, no. There is no timeline for consummation under the Act.
Okay. There's another question there. Someone says, if a party conducts 2 weddings, one under the Act and one customary, which takes precedence?
Okay, great. Great question. So in Nigeria, many people do what we call double-decker marriage. So the reason is because they want to satisfy both the culture and then the colonial pattern, so to say, which takes precedence. Okay. So let me give you a scenario. Mr. A and Mr. Broom and Mr. Parker. Sorry, Mr. Broom and Mrs. Broom get married. And then when they get married, they did customary marriage and then they did marriage under the Act, which is registry. And then Mr. A says, I'm tired of the marriage, I don't want to go on, and he goes to return, or rather the lady comes to return the bride price to his people to say she's no longer interested. Now, it means that the customary marriage is over, it's been dissolved. But the marriage under the Act still subsist. So it's still on, like regardless of the fact that they're not living together. Again, we'll call that audio separation. A lot of people are audio separated. So, oh, we're separated, we no longer stay together. They are no longer staying together, but they are married. They are still legally married. So if anything happens to either of the parties, they are still beneficiaries to that estate. If you get
Wow.
yes. So when you have parties that conducted 2 marriages, it's even better for them to dissolve the one under the act, which is the customary marriage. And well, the whole family members will know that the marriage is no longer holding, which is the more like the custom. So whether or not they return, they don't return. Well, there's already papers to say the divorce has happened. So
Wow.
so which one takes more precedence? I think is the act that would take more precedence, because even if you're married under they've returned the bride price, they say they're no more doing, they've collected their daughter, you're still married under the act. You can't go and you can't
Yeah, because nothing has annulled that so far.
To another person. But people, but again, practice, people do it without regards to the laws.
Interesting. Wow, some interesting stuff there. Chijoke says we do 3-decade marriage in Nigeria.
It's double-decker.
I think so. We do what do you call it now? You do traditional, you do court, you still do. Okay, well, now we know better that. But yeah, some people, Abi, if you are using a church that is licensed,
yes,
yeah, do they still need? You don't need to still do the registry one, but some people still do that, don't they?
Even when the church tells them that, oh, the certificate, they say no, they want to. Okay, some people even say they want to snap against the banner, that Federal Ministry of Interior banner. That's
okay, as proof.
Yes, as proof that yes, really and truly we got married. You can't do that in church. So again, they just want to fulfill all righteousness to say we have a picture that shows you that we got married at the registry. Yes.
Okay.
They like the backdrop. That backdrop is important.
Yeah, but you get why. I'm even suspecting some of those people now. You get why? They have plans. Especially Japa committee. All right. And that's the arrangee part of Japa people here. Those that want to just marry for document and get out. Anyway, this one now. Someone says Photoshop. See concept. So you just gotta put that background.
Photoshop. Very valid.
Okay, so there's one question like that, right? I heard.
Okay.
This matter is like it's troublesome. I heard that if you promise somebody marriage and you don't marry the person, that's wahala can dey there.
Yes.
Is it true?
Yes, absolutely. It's called breach of promise to marry. So it means Mr. Broom promised Miss A that, oh, you're the love of my life, gave her an engagement ring, did proposal, on the best of the best hilltop. And so there was so much projections that this is going to happen, and then suddenly Mr. Broom gets married to someone else or goes on to live with someone else. So yes, Miss Broom can institute a civil action for damages, for emotional trauma, for emotional trauma, for damages, for mental breakdown and disturbance.
Wonderful.
So it can happen for breach of promise to marry, yes. But again, you need facts, you need evidence, such as an engagement ring, such as the long term of that relationship, such as receipts for maybe expensive gifts bought. All of that, you need all of that. You can't just go to court and say, oh, he promised to get married to me and then he didn't get. No. So on what basis? What did he do? What did she do to insinuate that a marriage was coming up? Did he say it verbally? Was there a text message? Was there a chat? Was there a video? So all of these things, would make the civil action happen or not happen.
Someone says it means some people can get wealthy from heartbreak. So some people don't know that they have potential. Like 5 people have promised you marriage and they don't marry you. That's gonna happen. You can retire from work. Wow. Interesting stuff here, really. Okay. There's another question in the someone says who knew? There's a question again that is there a system in place for reconciliation if the court refuses the case? Does the court really refuse? Okay, so maybe like people want to divorce and the court says no. Is there a system in
Yes.
place for reconciliation?
Yes, so well, there are instances, there are cases where the couple are no longer interested in the marriage and the court doesn't feel like the evidence before it is enough to dissolve that marriage. So yes, that happens.
Okay.
Now, reconciliation still falls back to the parties because the court might say, oh, go and reconcile this marriage and let's see what happens, and tells the lawyers on both sides to see how they can mediate between the parties to get the parties together. Again, the lawyers
Yeah.
can do their best, really.
Yeah.
The ball is in the court of the couple, of the man and wife, to know whether they really want to go ahead to resolve whatever issues or just forget the marriage.
I just remembered one case. So, this husband and wife were um, in the process of, divorce proceedings. And in the course of the proceedings, the woman carry belle for the husband. Eh?
Absolutely.
Is that one now? Is it still valid?
So the lawyer suffers at that point because they will not pay a legal fee. So, but there are instances like that where, I mean, so in the midst of the whole drama, in the whole heat, they are still loving up
Yeah.
and still doing stuff behind closed doors, and then maybe
Can
one
you
thing
imagine? And they say they want to go
that,
separate ways.
oh yes. So again, there is love in their hearts, but the relationship is out the door. So they're still in love with each other, but I mean the entire institution is out of the window.
One of the one where the husband and wife show up with Ashwebi.
Oh yes, I saw that one. So that was a sweet coincidence. It shows that love still exists.
Does it not show unity? They are united in
Oh
purpose.
yes, they're united yet apart but united. So yes.
Oh my. Okay. Someone says so. We should start documenting expense and promises.
Oh, yes,
Wow,
absolutely.
So if you buy gift for your babe now, you gotta document it.
Document it, please. Receipts attached.
Receipt. Problem.
You buy high QR code, keep that receipt because you can use it tomorrow.
I mean, these are things that people did not know existed, right? And it's just there. I mean, but do you hear people cashing out? Okay, let me say cashing out. Do you hear people getting compensated or being damages?
People have gotten damages, yes, for issues like this. I mean, it's not widely practiced, but yes, people have gotten damages. People have instituted matters in court.
Okay. Oh wow, amazing.
But again, you would not sue someone that doesn't have that has no way without to pay damages.
So you have to be sure that the person doesn't have money, just lock up.
Most times you're like, you know what, there's really no need. Only if you just want to show the person Pepe Shaggy, just be coming to court. Let me disgrace you finally. Should you disgraced me? Let me. But aside that, what's the end goal? The end goal is that I must cash out from this thing. So if it's to cash out and the person doesn't have money, stop wasting your time. So, but
like there's no need, man. Even the court pressures, you pay seriously.
Oh, exactly. You pay your lawyer, so it's better not. Don't waste your time and the time of the court and time of your lawyer if you don't have money.
Okay, now I have another question. In fact, this one I'm tempted to stay here, but let me just run small because of time. Okay, my reference says, who broke my heart last? Good to see you, sir. You're welcome, sir. Okay, let me see. Give me a second. I'm trying to be sure I'm not missing any. Okay. So, so for people who say, I really want to get married, but I don't have a lot of money to go through all these, elaborate kind of weddings and stuff. Like, what's the process for the registry? What's it called now? Yeah, the marriage and the registry. Don't we call court wedding, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What's the process for it? Is it expensive? Is it easy? How easy is it to get married at the registry?
It's easy. It's easy. The last I am aware of, I think it was less than 50,000. I don't know about now, but the last I'm aware of, I know that for the UKE registry. So again, you have to pay the statutory fee. At the time, it was about 30,000 or 32,000, and then you pay for all these little things. Pay for passports. Pay for this. Pay for that. Pay for. So again, is the cheapest to do because you can do it right there and then. Get dressed, come. So they don't give you rules and regulations as to what to wear. That's why you get there and see some people fully clad in a wedding dress. and you see some people
Yeah.
simply dressed in just a skirt suit and just, regular everyday wears, and then they just get married and hold their
Okay.
certificates and they're good. So again, it's one of the cheapest marriages, but because we're Africans, we have culture. You cannot dismiss the cultural part that has to be carried out maybe in your hometown, or for your parents
Okay.
to sort of have that on record that you fulfilled, you did it for the culture. So, but yes, so it's cheap and it's
Yeah.
easy. You have to go to the court and obtain a form. You fill the form. Most likely, when you return that form, you're given 21 days for publication, so that in case anybody has an objection as to why you should get married, it would be put out. It will be put out there for the public to come and make objections. So if no objection is made within the 21-day mark, then you'll be told to come back. So in all of this, they give you a timeline to say, okay, submit this form on or before this time. And if you want to get married by this time, this form ought to have been filled and submitted, because 21 days start counting from so day. So yes.
Wow. I mean, so if they do that at the court already, why do they still do it in church? Anybody who wants to, how do they say that? Anybody who has any reason why this couple should not be joined, you can now speak up. Why do they still do this? They have done it for 21 days.
Well, just in case there's anybody that did not know that court had gone on, people in the community that know that this man is married somewhere. Let us tell the public that, in case, please, if you know him outside, come and call him out here now.
Hala.
So that's why.
Okay, I get that. There's a comment here. Someone says condemnation can be used against the party that is petitioning and still enjoying benefits. Okay, you want to speak to that?
Condemnation can be used against the party that is petitioning and still enjoying benefits. Yes. So yes, it's an exception to dissolution of marriage. It's condonation.
Okay.
I don't know if that person meant condone. So an example is, for instance, Mr. Broom and Mrs. Broom have been living together, and adultery has been happening in that marriage, and Mrs. Broom has condoned it. So it's an exception to the dissolution of that marriage if it can be proved that she condoned it or he condoned adultery. Yes. So I think that's what we're trying to say here. So yes, that's an exception to dissolving that marriage. So it's be seen that, but you didn't say anything, or you forgave him and you moved on. So why are you bringing it up?
Why are you bringing it up now?
Yes, why bringing it up now? So if you didn't cry wolf at the beginning, so why now? You forgave him. Everybody knew that this is what he did, and you publicly accepted him back again in presence of everybody. So why are you coming back to say you're no longer interested on grounds of this? So again, condonation. I think the person meant to say condonation, connivance and condonation. Again, because some people connive to get a divorce. So what we have to bear in mind is the laws of Nigeria, or the Matrimonial Causes Act, tries its possible best to ensure that the sanctity of marriage is being adhered to. Why? Because if every Tom, Dick, and Harry can just go to court and get a divorce, I mean, you just get upset one day and say, I'm done with this marriage, I'm done. And you go to court and then voila, you're out of the marriage. So that's the reason why such exceptions exist, because you can't blow hot and cold. You can't be hot. I can't take this bullshit. I'm done. I'm tired. And then the man is able to condone it. So
that's some serious stuff.
That's what this person was trying to say here.
Okay, so another question is someone mentioned here that you must, in Benin registry, the man must wear suit and lady wear. I've heard that in some registries they used to shout at people. They used to bully them.
I'm sure it's possible, very possible. It's our Nigerian behavior. So yes, they want to corporately dress so that pictures will be nice, and so that they're coming to a corporate place. You're not coming to your village. So it's possible.
Okay.
Very, very possible.
Okay. And then who have to be around for that court wedding?
Okay, so they always want 2 witnesses for each parties, and so ideally maybe the mother, the father, close relatives, could be the sister, elder brother, uncle, yes, and 2 witnesses, but they usually want father, mother, uncle, auntie, parental looking.
I heard some people rent all those figures.
Yes, absolutely. Everything is possible.
They rent anybody as father, rent anybody as mother.
Absolutely.
Wow. Hell, and there's no way to verify and say, Jai, this is
How
not
many
your father.
verifications do you want them to do for how many people? Do you know how many people are getting married at the registry every day?
My
If
God.
you're working at the registry, I don't think you want to be in that department of verification.
My God. Wow.
To verify parents.
Wow. Kingsley says in Benin, with 60,000, you can marry in Benin Federal Marriage Registry. Okay, that's good. So, but those that are thinking that to marry is expensive, go and see that there's a way. Go and do it's legally recognized. Go and marry. Go and marry. Go and marry. Those things, it's too cost. It's too cost. At the end of the day, to say that. Okay, well, typically I'd have been stopping for now because we usually finish at 10. But we came up a bit late. So let me just push another 10 minutes. Is that okay by you?
Okay, yes. Great.
Okay, let me push another 10 minutes, hopefully, and then we can call it a day there. Okay, somehow another question I was going to ask, but you have spoken to it already. So, how do I structure this one now? I feel like we've touched it somehow, right? But what are the common causes for divorce? You know, you can introduce this. I know it can be very elaborate. Maybe we'll talk more about it in the next week's episode. But what are the common causes in your practice that you've seen?
For divorce?
Yeah.
Okay. Domestic violence, financial abuse or neglection. Oh, yes, financial abuse or finances. Really, money matters. So, domestic violence, money matters, adultery. And let's say, abandonment. So you can rank it as money matters, adultery, domestic violence. Yes. So those three are usually the core reasons why marriages don't sail through eventually. Again, there could be more. So, but what I have come in contact with, my experience has been usually adultery, financial issues, domestic violence, money matters. And
then somehow for all of these things, people have to provide proof. It's not just set up.
Oh no, it's not just what happened. No. How did you? What now? So, yes, there has to be proof. There has to be.
Wow. I see some people firing shots at the comment section. They are they are calling. I wish all of you well. A word is enough for the wise. Oh, CJ, now you know your battery is low. You run nowhere. Sit down here and answer your name. Okay. So I was going to even ask this, right? For those who do at the court, there is there any provision for counseling, any form of training, or just come and marry and get out of our faces?
Okay, so there's a form of counseling. So I know that the first time you go, you pick up your form. The next time you go, that's after the 21 days. They usually hold like a group counseling session. So where they speak to everybody about, hope you know what you're getting into. Marriage is not just I love him and I love her. This is for real. If you're really sure that this is not what you want to do. So again, it looks like it's done in a crude way. It's not the ideal counseling that you might have in your head.
Okay.
It's usually done in.
So
I'm advising you.
So they just want you. Are you sure you're ready?
Yes, exactly. Are you sure you're ready? You know that divorce is not cheap. Many of you are just here thinking that you can just go home and go and do traditional. So so that exists. There's a form of counseling at the Federal Marriage Registry. Yes, there is.
Okay. Now you just mentioned something I was going to ask about just now. People say that it's very easy to get a divorce, like it's just like that, And when you watch the movies, right, you see where a couple, they're quarreling, and the other one says, you know what, it's over. And then you just bring your lawyer to start the paper, just carry your pen and just like, just sign. That's over now. Please, is it like so? Is that what happens?
No, in real life, it doesn't happen that way. And a lot of people have been confused by that. So no, it's not. It's a lengthy and cumbersome process, at least in Nigeria, that I'm aware of. You have to go through the court system. So again, the court has its calendar. So imagine if you're filing in June or July when the court is about to go on vacation, and then they'll be back by September, October. So I mean, no, it's not as easy as just signing on a paper. Most likely, maybe what they are signing in movies is prenuptial agreements and postnups. Because if it is like that people get divorced, the whole of the world will be divorced by now. I mean, if it was just, I'm going to get my lawyer to write to you, I'm going to get, it doesn't work that way. Like, it doesn't work that way. It's difficult. Like, it's a lengthy process. The courts want to ensure that the sanctity of marriage is being reserved. They don't just want to shove marriage out the window.
Okay. That's interesting. And then, how affordable is it? Is it very cheap?
It's not cheap. Divorce is not. No, divorce is not cheap. Like, you cannot pay your lawyer 200,000 to get a divorce. Sorry, but no. Like, no.
Oh, really?
See, certain. Even filing. I mean, how much is filing? Filing is expensive. So 200,000. Wow. Like, no. You see, divorce is not cheap. Anywhere in the world, it's not cheap.
They did not tell some people.
Okay, well. I'm sure
is that why you say there's a lot of audio? Is that why there's a lot of audio divorce?
Oh, yes. So that's the reason why there's a lot of audio separation. You won't call it a divorce.
Separation.
So they are just
separation.
But on paper, they're still married. Yes, so that's the reason why there's a lot of audio separation. Yes. Divorce
and typically, they should not be able to remarry, but until the former one.
Going by the laws, so that's a criminal offense for you to get
married.
Because
bigamy is supposed to be a criminal offense, is it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, 7 years in prison.
Yeah.
But
really?
A lot of people go ahead with a new marriage and have not dissolved the first one. But again, what you would know is some people that go ahead with the second marriage usually do not do the registry marriage. They do the customary.
Oh, okay.
Bearing in mind that the customary marriage allows for polygamous settings.
So, yeah, that's true. That's true.
So many of the people that are married under the act and have not dissolved that marriage go and do bride price, go and pay for bride price, or go and do traditional things with the girls' people or the boys' people. And then they they don't go to the but again, some people are very bold, very, very bold. They go to another state and go to the registry there and get married.
Because we don't have central data, eh?
Yes. So again, data is lacking. Although now the Federal Ministry of Interior is working really hard to. So if you check the Federal Ministry of Interior website now, and you go to where you have the 21 days notice, you have people that actually lined up there. So you have names of people. So if you type the name of someone, it will pop up saying this person has, sort of put in a 21-day notice for getting married and all that. So yes. So slowly but surely it's a very snail-paced journey.
Yeah. I think it's important we have all these kind of records available because, I mean, there's really a lot of research I personally want to do in this space, but sometimes you look and nothing is, I mean, you can't really get information. It's not harmonized, so you just tend to move on.
Mm-hmm.
But I think these things need to be automated and really centralized. Yeah. So IT people in the house, project for you. Go and work on this data so that it's available for all of us. All right. Let me stop here for now. I mean, it's been a powerful time. It's been really enlightening. You want to say something?
No, I'm saying yes. I concur. I agree. It's been a really.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's been powerful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guys, we're gonna do this again by God's grace next week, Wednesday. All right, we'll talk about this again because there's still a lot of questions. I personally had about 18 questions and I've scratched just about half of them. Okay. So next week we want to do this again. So please put word out, invite your friends, invite your I don't say invite your boyfriend, girlfriend, but maybe you now hear something that used to.
Just in case you don't lock it down.
So please be mindful who you're inviting. They don't take you hammer. Because I've heard some punchlines today. All right. Okay. Tony says, now I get why Patience is awkward, no bother about divorce. She just goes for something permanent. Hammer. That one is different dimension. It's film.
No,
Oh.
but so the easiest marriage to dissolve. So going back to
Yeah.
easiest marriage to dissolve,
Yeah.
apparently seems like the traditional and the Islamic marriage because
Yeah.
they have a shorter documentation process. And again, for customs and traditions, for some of the
Yeah.
customs, it's just returning a bride price to say, we don't want again, we're no more doing, give us our daughter. You know, so
Yeah.
that's just an act that had to just go down, and then they've dissolved the marriage. So for a lot of people that
Yeah.
just do it, you find a lot of, let me put it this way, traders, not necessarily illiterate people, but some very
Okay.
traditional people just doing only traditional marriages because they believe that I'm not
Okay.
colonial. I don't want to be, this kind of people that, oh, I'm in Nigeria to be core. I'm a cultural man. I'm a cultural woman. I don't.
I'm a content. Yeah,
So
exactly.
those kind of marriages are easier to dissolve. Islamic marriages are easier to dissolve. Again, for the Islamic marriages, they go before the Sharia courts. For the traditional marriages, if they want to go the court route, they go to the customary courts. Customary courts are not as overburdened as the high courts where you go for to dissolve the marriage under the act. So they're simpler, they're shorter, they are easier to just get away with, and everybody is informed that this marriage is no longer, they know they're together, or they're not married again, they don't return bride price, so we define husband for our daughter. So yes,
Yeah.
it's simpler than the civil marriage. It's simpler.
Okay. I'm tempted to bring in more questions, but let me just save it till next week.
Okay.
Really. In fact, let me write. There's one question that came up now. Let me put it down before I forget. All right, guys. Thank you so much. So we'll call it a day tonight. Right? Thank you so much, man, Barisa Desoa, for being here. It's been very insightful. I know. So guys, come with your questions next week. We're going to do this again next week.